Multiple new characters for Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 might have just been revealed that tell us a bunch about what Mob is working on, along with us getting a brand new teaser for something coming next week, Easter eggs added into Chapter 4, a new Smiling Critters game was possibly leaked, and much more. So firstly, a couple weeks ago, after waiting for so long, Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 released onto consoles, and while for the most part the game is essentially identical to the one on PC, of course outside of it having to be scaled down a bit for consoles, there is also one super interesting Easter egg they added where in Safe Haven, if we shoot a flare gun at this box, it will disintegrate and inside a Dog Day plush will come and jump scare us, which is really random, but I'll definitely take it. I love when they do cool little things like this. But in some bigger news, we just got a big new teaser for something super interesting. As over on Twitter, Mob posted this super ambiguous image showing the monster version of Doughy, and what makes this interesting is if you go ahead and brighten it, it becomes much clearer, as we could see what looks like some kind of frame that the monster Doughy is coming out of, and a date on the top for July 18th, teasing something coming out next week. And so far, I've seen a few different theories for what this could be. For one, some people think it could be for Chapter 5, since this was right around the time both Chapter 3 and 4 started to roll out in late July. Although this is maybe a bit of a pipe dream because for reasons I'll mention later, it doesn't seem like Chapter 5 is really coming all that soon. The second theory is that this could be for some kind of merchandise, since many people think this could be teasing a Doughy figure or statue, especially after Mob announced they were working with McFarlane Toys to create figures. However, by far, the overwhelming majority of people think that this is actually going to be for a Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 mobile port. A lot of fans without computers or consoles have been asking for a mobile port ever since Chapter 4 released, especially since they already have the first 3 chapters, so I'm sure that the devs have been working on it behind the scenes, and plus, looking back at the teaser provided, many think that this frame that Doughy is coming out of is actually meant to be a phone screen teasing the port. This is obviously a little disappointing if true, because when I saw this, I was immediately thinking it would be for an ARG or something big that was finally starting. Regardless though, I'm sure whatever it is will be pretty cool. But even cooler is that I just partnered with G Fuel, the premium energy drink company I'm sure you're already aware of, to get you guys 20% off everything in their entire store with code SHEEP. This includes their Poppy Playtime bundle available right now, which is perfect for starters and Poppy fans alike, but there's also tons of other flavors in powder and can form that are a blast to try and experiment with. So if you're wanting to treat yourself as well as support me, use code SHEEP for 20% off, link in the description. But going back to the news, we just got some huge leaks / hints over the past few days that tell us some really interesting things about the future of Poppy Playtime games. First, starting with some new projects. If you've watched this channel at all recently, I've discussed how Mob has revealed they're working on various different projects through trademarks and job listings, like a game called Poppy Play Park and some kind of Fortnite collab in development right now. However, this is far from the end, as looking back over at Mob's job listings, where they often hint at what they're actively working on, they've recently started hiring for a composer of some sort, which on its own wouldn't really be that notable. However, in the description of this job, they claim they were hiring to work on what they call a new narrative-driven horror title to create psychological and emotional depth, a slow burn horror experience that includes adaptive music systems that respond to in-game actions, player choices, and narrative beats. Now, I don't know what this project is, be it Chapter 5 or one of the various other projects they're working on, but to theorize, usually if they're hiring for Poppy Playtime, they'll say something about expanding their flagship IP or something like that. But here to me, it almost sounds like this is something completely new. I mean, they've mentioned in past interviews that they wanted to work on new horror IPs, and that was over a year ago, so maybe they are finally delving into that world right now and working on something new. I'm not sure, but things get even crazier when, even more recently, a new trademark was filed by Mob as a computer and software product, the Smiling Critters Survivor. critters, which suggests that there's also going to be another new project, at least in development, centered around the smiling critters. Meaning that when you look at all of Mob's current projects, along with developing Chapter 5, they are making a Fortnite game, a spin-off called Poppy Playtime, possibly an entirely new narrative-driven horror game, and this Smiling Critters Survivors project, which does make me super excited because it sounds like there are a lot of plans for the Mob franchise. But for one, I'm sure these aren't all separate projects, like maybe Poppy Playtime will be the name of the Fortnite collab or something like that. And two, I would be lying if I said this didn't make me somewhat worried about the future of the mainline chapters, as last time the devs tried to work on a spin-off in Project Playtime, it delayed the highly anticipated Chapter 3 by months. And while these are all just planned projects, and we've seen the developers trademark tons of stuff and hire people to make new games that never end up releasing, this still does make me wonder if Chapter 5 is going on the back burner for now, and the devs are taking their time to work on all of this stuff. I even made and edited 2 separate videos talking about my worries with this, but chose not to release them because they felt a bit unnecessary. However, it's still very much a concern headed towards the end of the year. But while we might not see Chapter 5 for a while, some more new leaks suggest they might already be working on its characters behind the scenes. See, back when Chapter 4 was being worked on, the fanbase was actually able to figure out what new characters would be in the game early, because Mob, in order to make merch and whatnot, trademarked the names of all of their new characters months early, just like the game titles we discussed earlier. And just today, as I'm recording this, multiple new names were just filed. Firstly, one under the name Chum Chompkins, which, judged from having the name chum in it, which is a term for ground up fish, and chomp, I'm left believing this character is likely some kind of fish, probably an aggressive one like a shark. Secondly, there's a character named Giblet, which, to be honest, I have no idea what this could be. The same goes with the third one, Globy, which sounds like it's going to be some kind of light themed toy, like maybe a nightlight, but again, I don't really know. Fourth, there's Lily Love Braids, which I assume is some kind of doll with hair for braiding. And finally, there's Playtime Co's Wrong Side Outimals, which sounds like a completely new set of toys, which, if I had to guess, judged from the name saying Wrong Side Out, it sounds like this line will feature various different animal themed toys that can be turned inside out to create something new. This is something I've seen companies in real life do, and since we know that Mob likes to take inspiration from real things and put it into their games, I think there's at least a good chance this is correct. So naturally, the most important question here is, what are these characters for? And the 3 main theories I've seen online are as follows. For one, some people think some of these could be for one of Mob's new IPs, since things like Giblet are pretty obscure names, and we just mentioned Mob potentially working on new IP, so maybe these could partially be for that. The second theory is that this could be for one of Poppy's spin-offs being worked on, be it Poppy Playtime or maybe even the Smiling Critters Survivors. And of course, the third theory is that these could be characters for the upcoming Chapter 5. I mean, sure, some of the names are weird, but does anyone remember back when the name Doughy the Doughman leaked and people thought the same thing? Plus, while I'm skeptical of Chapter 5 releasing soon or anything for reasons mentioned earlier, I still think the devs will use the extra time to plan out the next chapter super thoroughly, and this could be them prepping the names long before development. It's honestly anyone's guess, but this puts Poppy Playtime in a super cool position where there's so many new projects being worked on at once that all sound like they're going to be pretty cool, and we're just here waiting in anticipation to see how they turn out and which of them end up seeing the light of day. So let me know your thoughts down below, and also remember to use code SHEEP at G Fuel.